Well, today's video is gonna be a fun one. Top 5 stocks in the year 2028. That is what we are discussing here today, guys. So in this scenario, what we are saying basically is, if somebody said, Jeremy, we gotta freeze your body for the next 10 years. You've gotta put your money in 5 stocks. What 5 stocks are you putting them in? In 10 years, you can come out and you can do whatever you want with those shares, okay? But in the meantime, you can't sell them, you can't buy more shares, you can't do anything. You just need to stick your money in these 5 stocks. So that's exactly what we're doing here today, guys. It's a hard prediction to make because so much can change in a 10-year span. So much can change. So I'm really looking for companies that have a lot going for them across the ball, guys. So this is very interesting. I hope you guys get a ton of value out of this. I hope you find it interesting, and let's get into this. Today's video is sponsored by my private stock market group. Make sure if you have not already gotten in there, you get in there. So third link down there in the description. We now have over 300 serious stock market investors in that group that absolutely love it. Anytime I buy shares or sell shares in a company, I post that same day on what I did and why I did it. Also, now on Mondays, I post videos in there kind of teaching you a lesson that you kind of need to learn about stocks. That's a new segment I've added for Mondays. On Fridays, we look into a ton of different stocks, and I give you a ton of different things that are going on with stocks as far as earnings go, as far as companies I'm looking into, all that type of stuff. Also, as a member, you have access to a 12-part options course that you can view anytime you want and learn about options. Options is a very valuable thing for so many people that are in the stock market to learn about. Also, on top of all that, you're in a group with over 300 serious investors who are constantly commenting on stocks they are buying or selling and reasons behind that. So you definitely want to get in there if you are not already. Third link down there in the description, and I look forward to seeing you in there. Coming in with stock number 1 is Amazon. Amazon is the first stock we are talking about here today. So if I had to bet my money one way or another, will Amazon have a bigger or smaller market cap 10 years from now? Absolutely, I would bet that it will be a much bigger market cap 10 years from now than what it is today, okay? So when I think about Amazon's business, okay, the first thing I kind of think about is their general marketplace, okay? This is where companies sell on, let's think, if I all of a sudden wanted to start selling an item, I all of a sudden wanted to start selling tripods or something like that. Like the first place I would go to sell those tripods is Amazon, okay? Like that's the first and foremost, like one I would want to sell. So the general marketplace, if I had to, imagine 10 years out, are more companies going to be selling on there, taking that more serious than they are today, making more revenue and profits across the board? And is Amazon going to be doing better as a result of that? In my opinion, absolutely. I do not see that going away. I think Amazon's won the retail war from that perspective of, general merchandise. Walmart used to win it, and Walmart still technically, I guess, is in the lead. But within a couple years, guys, Amazon's going to be number 1 in that game. It's clear for everybody to see out there. So, in that business, that's going to just a massive business that just keeps growing for them and is going to become a huge profit engine here in the future. Trust me on that. And then the next thing I kind of think about with Amazon is I think about their own merchandise, okay? I think about their own merchandise, which is they've gotten into their own merchandise big time. For instance, we just talked about tripods, right? This is actually on an Amazon tripod. They've gotten into so many product categories, which not a lot of companies don't like because now they have to compete with Amazon, who's willing to offer some items for very low prices. But Amazon, on super popular items, they've gone and actually made their own things that are simple like that, right? They've made their own things that now they can start selling that get ranked above everybody else's items, and they make probably more profit on that than they would selling a general merchandise thing, right? Because they're actually the manufacturer of it and whatnot and get all the profits from that item. Then you think about the Amazon Echo and some of that hardware, with Alexa and all that type of stuff, right? That's a huge category. I mean, Echo Dot, from my understanding, is by far and away the number 1, speaker, I guess you could say, external speaker thing that you can talk to out there, right, over Google Home. And obviously Apple's just starting to get into that game and whatnot. So when I look at their own merchandise over the next 10 years, in my opinion, that's just going to be a category that kind of explodes for the company over time, okay? Then we kind of think about the next thing, which is just a massive thing that's taken off the last few years, and I just see this one getting bigger, and that's Amazon Web Services, okay? AWS. AWS has become a massive business. From my understanding, I've heard things from friends and whatnot that when Amazon actually started this, that they were thinking it was just going to be like a $10 million, $50 million business, and now it's in the billions of dollars. That's a business I don't see slowing down anytime soon. And so if I had to guess, if that business is going to be a lot bigger, 10 years from now than it is today, I would say absolutely. It'll be a lot bigger profit engine for the company, okay? So those three pillars alone are the majority of Amazon's business, and I just see all three of those getting bigger, right, over time. And then kind of just you think about, what's next? What's next for Amazon? I think Amazon will continue to figure that out over the next few years. This is a company that has proven that they can, take any profits they're making and fund those back into the business and spend to generate more money in the future and whatnot. It's a company that's proven this with, the way they've rolled out things and the way they've done their business, right? In Amazon Web Services. Like, to grow Amazon Web Services, it was a massive deal. Like, that's so big. Like, people don't understand. Like, that's already one of the bigger companies. If Amazon Web Services was its own company, it'd be one of the bigger companies in the world. Never mind what that's going to grow into over the next 5 to 10 years. So in my opinion, that's a company that will figure out what's next after those type of things go on. And so 10 years from now, in my opinion, Amazon's market cap will be much bigger than it is today. Stock number 2 that I see having a much bigger market cap in 2028 than it does currently in 2018 is Apple. Apple. What is going on with Apple that I see this company have a much bigger market cap 10 years from now than currently, okay? So when you think about Apple's business, the first thing you gotta kind of think about is obviously iPhone, okay? iPhone is at the front and center for Apple right now as far as revenues and profits go at the moment, okay? So when I think about iPhone, I don't really think they're gonna be selling massively more iPhones in 10 years from now than they are now. I really don't see that. It's possible, but I don't see that. But what you got to think about with iPhone is I think they can keep units somewhat around where they have them currently, okay? But the price is going to continue to go up, okay? We just saw them launch the $1,000 phone. Samsung's new phone, I think, starts at, I want to say, $929 or something like that. Smartphones are going to start being consistently above $1,000 on the high end of them, okay? And the lower end will be still probably around $400, maybe $500, somewhere around there. But the high end, the phones, the newest ones, the flagships from Samsung and Apple, which are the two dominant smartphone makers, right? The price is going to continue to go up on those as they continue to innovate and add new features and things like that, since there's such high demand for these, right? So that's kind of where I think the iPhone business is going. So ultimately, this will be more and more of a profitable business over the next 5 to 10 years. And the smartphone in itself, over the next 5 to 10 years, it's already arguably the most important device in any person's life. The most important thing in anybody's life, right, is their smartphone. They would get rid of anything before they got rid of their smartphone, right? Because you can do almost everything on a flagship smartphone nowadays, right? So the demand's not going to go away anytime soon. It's possible, 20 years from now, maybe we're not using smartphones or something, but 10 years from now, I just see that being, something that goes on and on. Also, Apple has a really smart strategy around devices, okay? Around devices, and kind of like these little gateway drugs, I call them, to get you to the iPhone, to get you to be an all-around Apple customer, okay? So they got all these devices, we're talking about iPads, we're talking about, Macs, they've got, the Apple Watch. Now they've got headphones and whatnot that are Apple headphones. They've got so many different other kinds of devices that's kind of like a gateway drug to get you to buy an iPhone, okay? And that's actually how I became an Apple customer. I remember it was like 2011, 2012 or whatnot. My wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she won an iPod Touch, which I had never had an Apple device, but she won this iPod Touch. I used it all the time, and it would have like a little 3-inch screen. And I was like, this is so freaking awesome. This is so awesome. Like, I was like, this blew me away. And I was using this little 3-inch iPod Touch more than I was using my actual computer and whatnot, because I liked it so much. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I want to get something that's like this, but a bigger device. So then I ended up getting the original iPad 2. Okay, so all of a sudden, I went from that to getting an iPad, and then I had an Android phone at that time. It really let me down. It was like a Huawei. I didn't like it. And so next thing you know, by 2013, I have an iPhone, and now I have Apple everything. It's just, that was a little gateway drug. The iPod Touch got me in, and then I liked it, and I liked the experience and whatnot. I got into the iPad, and then all of a sudden I was an iPhone customer after that. So that's kind of how Apple does it. And they're really the only serious company out there that has that gamut of products and devices that are like gateway drugs to really get you ultimately to the iPhone, okay? They're really the only company that does that. You can make an argument that maybe Samsung does, but Samsung, let's be honest, as far as, you know, other devices, they're not that successful. As far as their watches, if you looked at their watch numbers versus Apple Watch, it's not even close. If you look at the Samsung tablet numbers, you know, as far as, you know, what Samsung high-end tablets sell for in volumes compared to what iPads do, not even remotely close. If you look at the computer category, what Macs do versus some of the Samsung laptops and whatnot, it's not even on the same level. So Apple's really the only company in the entire world that has that type of deal going where they can funnel people into the iPhone. And on top of this, the iPhone is what I would call a very sticky thing, okay? It's very sticky and it's a hard thing to get out of once you're into the whole ecosystem. Why is it so hard to get out of? Well, because all your photos and whatnot are in the iCloud. That'd be a pain in the butt to switch to Android if you want to do that, right? Also, think about all the apps you would buy, all the music you would buy. All that doesn't just go magically and transfer over to, you know, Samsung or whatnot. If you have, you know, all these, you know, albums and whatnot you bought on you know, Apple, you can't just transfer that automatically over to Samsung. You have to download it. It's a pain in the butt. There's so much you would have to do to try to make that transition. Same thing kind of actually going from Android to iPhone. It's really not the easiest process. So a lot of times whenever you get a customer in, a lot of times they end up sticking with you for a long time as long as you don't turn them off super bad, okay? That's why Samsung could get through something like they got through with their whole phones blowing up and catching fire and whatnot, and still, like, you know, maybe some Samsung customers came to Apple, but it wasn't in droves or something like that. Most people were like, you know, whatever, it is what it is. Apple's had tons of issues over time with, you know, iCloud, you know, photos leaking out or something about celebrities. You know, they've had this whole deal about, are they slowing smartphones and all this come out. They've had a lot of negative publicity, right? And still iPhones are doing unbelievable numbers, right? So they're very sticky things. It's hard to get them out. So for that reason, another reason why I would say if this company's got a great chance to be a lot bigger. And then kind of the other part I think about this company is services, okay? Services is something that's blowing up. So anytime somebody buys an app, makes a purchase in an app, you know, think about all the people that are gamers and whatnot and buy something, a digital whatever, you know, on an app. Think about all the people that are signed up for Apple Music, and that service is growing and going to just be a gigantic service for them. Think about any potential things like if they launch like a Netflix competitor, what type of numbers that will do, any of that type of stuff. And then you think about iCloud, you know, what that people pay for and whatnot. I know I pay 99 cents a month. Some people have bigger plans than that. I pay like $4.99 a month, $5.99. All this type of stuff all goes into that services category that has been growing 20 to 30%. And I think the services category someday will be more profitable and probably have more revenue than actually the iPhone business, believe it or not. I think this is the big, huge thing for Apple in the future as far as looking at it from a 5-10 year perspective, as far as what could really grow this company. And then you just kind of think about, you know, Apple's will be able to figure out what's next. You know, this is a company that, you know, is always going to be able to figure out what's next. They got plenty of resources. They got plenty of money to kind of, you know, research things and kind of, you know, see, well, okay, if we market it this way, how much is this going to potentially make us and whatnot. They've got plenty of money to do that. They got plenty of talent over there to pull it off. So 10 years from now, in 2028, I absolutely see Apple having a much bigger market cap then than it does now. Stock number 3 that I see being much bigger 10 years from now than it is today is Facebook. Facebook, guys. So why can Facebook be a much bigger company as far as market cap goes 10 years from now than it is currently, okay? Well, one, they've got the premier platform of Facebook, okay? The biggest platform in the world is Facebook, all right? Now, this is something that is not nearly as exciting as it once was, but this is a straight profit machine, okay? This business is a straight profit machine nowadays and will continue to be so for years and years to come because they got, you know, billion plus people on this platform, right? Oh, well over a billion people that go on, maybe some go on once a month, maybe some go on once a week, maybe some go on once a day, some go on once an hour, right? Some people are on Facebook all the time, right? There's so many more ads they can be running on Facebook. And also, so you're thinking about like more ads can be on Facebook, right? And also ad rates are going to continue to rise on Facebook as there's more and more advertisers, you know, take it more serious as far as running ads on Facebook. So one, they have room for a lot more ads on Facebook. Also, they have ad rates that can potentially go up quite a bit over the next few years, okay? So Facebook is just a straight profit engine from that perspective. Also, they own Instagram, okay? Instagram, you know, the most brilliant acquisition, the deal of the century they got when they paid, I think it was $1 billion for Instagram. It's like a joke. I cannot believe they paid that. You know, this is kind of like miniature Facebook, I call it, except someday it might actually be bigger than Facebook, okay? Now, the major growth as far as a percent that Instagram is going to have over the coming years, in my opinion, is going to slow quite a bit because it's so built out now. I think the amount of users as far as a percent going up, it's going to be really hard to make those numbers look good. But think about it now, as Instagram's a platform with I think over 500 million people. Even if they got, you know, let's say, you know, only 10% more users one year, still 50 million people, okay? So this is the whole other deal. So this is going to be now a profit machine, and this is the same exact deal. They're going to have a lot more room for more ads on Instagram now, and ad rates are going to go up on Instagram, okay? That's what's going to happen there. Then you think about WhatsApp, okay? WhatsApp's a massive platform with I think somewhere around 1 billion people on it, right? WhatsApp, they've hardly even monetized WhatsApp. So this whole deal has even a bigger potential for WhatsApp because they've hardly done anything on there as far as ads and anything as far as making money on WhatsApp, right? And then you kind of think about Facebook from the perspective of, you know, acquiring companies, okay? They acquired WhatsApp, they acquired Instagram, deal of the century. I think they will probably continue to do so. When they see something that is a threat to the company, they're going to try to buy it. And nowadays they have such a big bank that even if, let's say, they wanted to really buy this company, you know, that's an upstart that's like coming up and maybe it takes them out or something, you know, and maybe they want to pay only $3 billion for the company, but the company's like, no, we're only selling out for 10. Facebook's got so much money nowadays and they got all these profit machines, so they can say, you know what, screw it. We'll just pay $10 billion. That way it doesn't get in our way. We own the property, and heck, we're going to make way more than $10 billion off this over the long term anyways. So why not go ahead and do that? So the acquisition, you know, that's going to be a big wave for Facebook as well. So when I look at all this, you know, it's hard to see a world where Facebook is not a bigger company as far as market cap goes in 10 years from now than it is now, because they got straight profit machines. Their profits should continue to explode for several years into the future, and that's just the way it is, guys. Company number 4 that I see being much bigger 10 years from now than it is today is Coca-cola, okay? Coca-cola. Why will Coca-Cola be much bigger 10 years from now than it is today as far as market cap goes? Well, here's what I see with Coca-Cola, okay? So when you think about Coca-Cola, the first thing you think about is their big soda business, okay? You think about Coke, you think about Diet Coke, you think about Coke Zero and all those kind of things. This is not really so much a growth business. In the US, this is actually a business that, you know, is possibly shrinking a little bit here and there, right? Internationally, maybe it's a little bit growth, but overall, this isn't really a growth engine for the company. This is just their profit machine right now, okay? This is their huge profit machine at the moment, okay? And we know their only real competition out there in the soda game is Pepsi, okay? Everything else kind of falls to the wayside is Pepsi, and that's really it. Those two companies kind of have a monopoly share on soda, and they have for 30 years now. It's been a while, right? Still a straight profit machine, okay? So we say, okay, this company might not have any growth there, and sales might even go down for their big profit machine over time, right? Very, very, very possible, okay? But what Coke does is they have money. They have a lot of money, so they can go out and acquire companies, okay? So they do this all the time. They've acquired, you know, Dasani over time and, you know, Minute Maid and all these huge brands, and they got a big stake in Monster. They had a big stake in Keurig, right? They've had a massive amount of stakes in all these businesses that are growing and growing, right? So they end up buying those companies full out and they just acquire them, or they make investments into them. Why would a company even want to sell out to them, or why would a company want to, let Coca-Cola make an investment of them and give up ownership? Well, really, it's because Coca-Cola has massive distribution. Okay, Coca-Cola has massive distribution. So let's say you're a little energy drink maker. Okay. And you're having some success out there and whatnot, and you know your products are flying off the shelf, and Coke looks at this and they're looking at sales and they're like, man, look at our Atlanta region. This energy drink over here is selling so many, and you know our sodas aren't selling very well over in the Atlanta region at convenience stores, right? And so they look at this and they say, wow, this brand is really growing. Imagine what they can do if they get out of just Atlanta and start spreading around the United States at this point. Let's go in and talk to them and say, hey, let's talk about a deal of us getting maybe 20% 20%, 30% ownership, or trying to buy you outright and see what they want to do. So Coke goes to them and say, hey, we want to buy you guys. We want to actually own the business. And, you know, the energy drink company says, no, I think we can grow a lot more. Coke can say, okay, well, don't sell the whole business to us. Let us buy a 20%, 30%, 40% ownership in your company, right? And we're going to help you guys distribute around the United States. We're going to help you with all this so you can get in more stores because your product's moving, right? And it's going to take you a long time to grow, and you might never grow to be what you want to be, right? We're going to give you marketing behind this. We're going to give you distribution and whatnot, but we want a 30, 40% ownership. What do you think that energy drink company is going to do? Unless they really have an unbelievable plan, and unless they have an unbelievable plan or they're really stupid, they're going to take that deal and they say, okay, yeah, you know what? We'll give you up 30% of our ownership, 40% of our ownership. We still got a controlling stake, but guess what? You guys are going to get us so much more distribution that our net worth of our company is going to go up way bigger because you have this distribution to get us into all these places. You have all these marketing things. You're going to allow us to, you know, use a lot of these tools that you use for the company. So Coke makes a ton of money on that. The other company succeeds in that, and that's just kind of what Coke does nowadays, okay? Soda business, profit machine. They take those profits and they see this category over here. Oh, there's this new water company, new water bottle company. Oh, remember when Smart Water was blowing up, and you know those type of drinks that had the vitamins in them and whatnot. And remember all those type of things, vitamin water, Smart Water, all that stuff. They ended up buying that company out. You know, that's just what Coke does. Okay, they see something having success and they say, okay, here's $100 million, here's $1 billion, here's $10 billion, whatever the money's needed to get it, they'll buy it, guys. And that's just what they do now. So in 10 years from now, I absolutely see Coke as being a bigger company than it is today. Company number 5 that I see being much bigger 10 years from now than it is today as far as market cap goes. This one's the most controversial of the 5 in my personal opinion, and it is Tesla. It is Tesla, but I absolutely see this company being much bigger market cap company 10 years from now than it is today, okay? So the way I think about Tesla, okay, is I think about, well, they already have the brand name in the game, okay? The game we're going to now is autonomous driving and electric vehicles, okay? So autonomous driving and electric vehicles, okay? EVs. They've got the brand name already there. They're synonymous with those two things way more than any other company, and it's not even close. The next closest name you think about electric vehicles and autonomous driving is like, I can't even think of one. Like everybody else is just so far behind them that they already have the brand name in the future game of cars, okay? They already have the brand name there, right? So when I think about this company, I think about they got Model 3 now starting to go into major production, okay? They got Model 3, which is their affordable car, okay? The Model 3 is a type of car that I see being the mass driver car of the future, okay? When you go out and look at your road 5 years from now or 10 years from now, since we're talking about 10 years from now, when you go out and look at the road 10 years from now, the majority of cars you're going to see out there, in my personal opinion, are going to be Model 3s of some kind, okay? It probably will have changed shape a little bit, and it'll probably be able to do some different things and whatnot. But in my opinion, that will be the mass driver car out there, okay? So think about your Toyota Corolla, your Nissan, you know, Versa, and you know, whatever other type of super popular cars are right now. I see all those kind of cars all being Model 3s in the future. So it's going to be from one brand, not from multiple brands, okay? Also, in about, it sounds like about 2 years from now, they're going to be coming out with, I believe it's called the Model Y, which is going to be their affordable SUV, okay? Their affordable SUV. This is going to be, in my opinion, once again, the mass driver SUV 10 years from now, okay? And it hasn't even come out yet. Why do I say this and why would I make a judgment like this? Because of their brand name, guys. Because they're already so synonymous with autonomous driving, electric vehicles. They got a 3, 5, 10-year jump on everybody else because major automakers haven't started to take this whole game serious until like the past, what, maybe 2 years, maybe 1 year. Tesla's been taking this game serious for 5, 10 years now, guys. So all the automakers out there are massively behind the 8 ball. Never mind that, they've obviously got their huge facility built out here now. I think it's out in Reno, Nevada. Okay, they got their massive facility, their massive production facility. They're huge into the electric game and as far as power walls go and whatnot, and expanding that business and kind of making it easy for you to charge your car at home and whatnot. This company is just the company, you know, what Elon Musk has done, I think has been seen by a lot of investors, and that's why it already has such a high valuation. But I think a lot of people don't realize how big Tesla is going to be in the future. I think they kind of think about Tesla still someday as a niche automaker. And what I'm going to say to that is 10 years from now, in my personal opinion, and I've said this before on the channel, in 10 years from now, Tesla's market share of cars sold in the United States of America will be the same as what Apple's market share of smartphones sold in the United States is, which is around a 50% market share. And we haven't seen a 50% market share of cars sold by one automaker in the United States or pretty much anywhere in the world, right? For a long, long time, like probably since cars came out back in, you know, the early 1900s or whatever. It's been that long since we've seen that type of dominant market share. I think we're going to actually see that here with Tesla. And then, you know, as they kind of expand in the electricity game and as they kind of expand into, you know, solar and whatnot, I think this company is just going to be a massive corporation over time. So 10 years from now, in my opinion, Tesla will be a much bigger market cap company than it is today. So anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video today. I hope you got a ton of value out of it. Let me know in that comment section if you agree with any of these, if you disagree, why you agree, why you disagree. I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.